All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the CMAQ, CRP, and TAPL Project Selection Committee to order. I realize I have Gamma's agenda. That's not going to do me any good. Sorry about that. Hold on one second. Well, let's go around the room and introduce ourselves. As I mentioned, Doug Ferguson, Chair of the CMAQ Project Selection Committee, representing CMAP. Tom?
Tom Rickard from Kane County, representing the counties.
Christopher Schmidt, IDOT, representing IDOT.
John Paul Dupla, FHWA.
Mark Pitstick, RTA, representing transit agencies.
Thank you. Moving on to item 2.0, agenda changes and announcements. We don't have any agenda changes. Are there any announcements from the committee members? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to approval of the minutes, item 3.0. Before us are the draft meeting minutes from our, should be April. Did I print the wrong agenda? I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. All right, great. It's going great today already from our April 11th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Tom Rickard motions to approve.
Thank you, Tom. Do I have a second?
Second, Dave Brady.
Thank you. Are there any changes to the minutes or discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. All right, moving on to the program monitoring section 4.0. 4.01 is the project programming status sheets. These are just informational for the purposes of this committee to see where the three programs are at as far as the projects are concerned. Are there any questions on those? Yeah.
The sheet of deferred projects.
Yeah. No, we've been producing that for, yeah. There may have been like a meeting, I think we didn't get the deferred. Yeah. Yeah. All right, item 4.2 is the CMAQ program summary and obligation goal. You'll notice that we have obligated a little, just a little over 86 million so far this federal fiscal year. We're getting close to like our annual apportionment, but we're probably not going to eat into the unobligated balance from previous years at this juncture. There is a little, like about 29 million sitting in advanced construction that could be converted, but probably wouldn't think much more than like 10 million of that may get converted. So we're probably going to fall a little bit short again this year. Staff is monitoring this. We're also discussing options with IDOT, and if something happens or we need to come back to you, we'll let you know. Are there any questions? Yeah, Mark.
Follow some discussion at recent meetings about a big project. See that.
Yeah, so Grant's not here. I defer to him. I believe they've accepted the bid on that. There was a bunch of money that needed to be moved around from other different programs, not just CMAQ. But we have another a little over 50 million in 25 for that project as well.
Okay. So will that help us then for if that comes through in the next?
Well, yeah, that'll help us next federal fiscal. Yeah, they already did the 24 amount. Yeah, and the problem is we could move up, but then we would also have to move other projects out to accommodate that 25 amount.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Did you have some? All right, I thought you were going to press your button. Okay.
It's just that the bids
When you talk, just
the bids came in really high on it, so that's
all right. Any other questions on the obligation goal? All right, hearing none, let's move on to the project change requests. John Hasma will be presenting the project change request memo and the individual projects. John.
Morning, committee members. Staff received 3 project change requests, 2 being for TAP L funded projects and 1 being for a CMAQ funded project. So the first request is for the 25th Avenue Shared Use Path sponsored by Broadview. You will notice we have some slides that are going to go along with the requests this time around. Hopefully helps you all make sense of these. And just to pause quickly so you can get a sense of the table to the right side, we have the phases that are going down that first column to the left, and then the year those phases are programmed in, that either the CMAQ or TAP. The current cost that the project has programmed on that phase, what the project's requesting, and then that last column to the right is going to be the combined cost, if approved, what they have now and the request. And then at the bottom is just the total amount. So again, hopefully this helps. If you have questions, feel free to jump in. But so again, this is Broadview. This is the Broadview project. It has $235,120 TAP L for engineering 2 in 2024 and $2,668,428 TAP L for construction and construction engineering in 2024. The sponsor is requesting an increase of $4,409 TAP L for engineering 2 in 2024 and $912,211 TAP L for construction and construction engineering in 2024. The request comes as a result of additional requests from IDOT and increases in construction costs based on pre-final plans and increases in labor and material costs. Staff's recommending approval of the requested cost increase of the $4,409 TAP L for engineering 2 in 2024 and the $912,211 TAP L for construction and construction engineering in 2024. So if we move on to the next request, this is for the Illinois 38 from Fox River to County Highway 77, sponsored by Geneva. The project has $4,271,618 TAP L for construction in deferment, and the sponsor is requesting a reinstatement of that amount for construction in 2024. The funding was originally approved in the 2016 to 2020 program, and it's since been deferred. Since it's been deferred, the project has demonstrated project readiness for construction with pre-final plans submitted to IDOT in May of this year. With that, staff's recommending approval for the requested cost reinstatement of $4,271,618 TAP L for construction to 2024. The last request is for the 143rd Street project from Wallen Drive to Van Dyke Road, sponsored by Plainfield. The sponsor has $64,000 CMAQ in 2024 for engineering 2 and $673,432 CMAQ in 2026 for construction and construction engineering. The sponsor is requesting a transfer of $150,392 CMAQ from construction, with $16,000 of that going to engineering 2, $80,000 of it going to right away, and that would be a new CMAQ funded phase. And then the remaining $54,392 going to construction engineering. And to cover that, the full amount of construction engineering, the project's also requesting an additional $25,608 CMAQ. And then the last piece here is that in addition to the transfer and cost increase, the sponsors also requesting a schedule change to move engineering 2 back from 2024 to 2025. The transfer and cost increase is a result of updated cost estimates that are showing construction costs being less than anticipated, and allows them to make this request to shift some funding to bring the other phases up to its 80% federal cost share. The project was re-ranked among access to transit projects included in the 24 to 2028 program, and it remained the first ranked project out of the 2 selected in its category. Staff is recommending approval of the transfer from construction of the 392 CMAQ to engineering 2 right away and construction engineering, as well as the schedule for engineering 2 from 2024 to 2025. And with that, that concludes the 3 project change requests we received. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thanks, John. Before. All right. Is that better? All right. Thanks, John. Before we take questions, do I have a motion to approve these project changes as presented?
So moved, Christopher Schmidt.
Thank you. Chris, do I have a second?
Second, Dave Brady, Bedford Park.
Thank you, President Brady. All right. So with that, are there any questions on the changes to the projects? All right. Well, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. 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 Any opposed? All right, the changes are approved. Yeah,
Can I just take this chance to give a quick update on the RTA's Access to Transit program and how that relates to the CMAQ program? There's a reason I'm doing this. First of all 3 of these projects had some relationship to access to transit, but I don't think they were in our access to transit program. They're larger projects.
Yep.
What the RTA does is in order to help implement project recommendations that come out of RTA's community planning program or CMAP's community planning program, we work with the communities to solicit for them to apply. It's like a pre-application to the RTA. And these are mostly projects that are under $1 million. And we then work with the communities to develop the projects and bundle them and submit them to the CMAQ program as a whole. And have been very successful in achieving funding. And then once that is obtained, once those are part of the program, then those communities individually go and develop local agreements with IDOT, and they go through the IDOT letting progress. But what the staff has pointed out to me recently, that they've been going through a more active program management process to contact the communities, that are been tardy or delinquent in their projects. And if you haven't already, CMAP staff will be receiving, things for changes and updates and withdrawals of projects that aren't moving forward. So just wanted you to know that and mention that to the committee to make sure everyone's aware that that is a sort of a process that we've developed to feed into the CMAQ process. And
great,
then
thanks.
a follow-up on that too, to keep them going, make sure they get implemented, or if they don't get implemented, that the projects are, withdrawn.
Yep. And just to add on that, CMAP staff worked with RTA staff to a status update form, like merge. RTA had a separate status update form. We had another one, so we're able to combine those together. So applicants aren't filling out multiple forms of the same information, trying to reduce some of the burden on them. But well, and that just went, I think, live back in for June. So we'll see how that proceeds, and hopefully that makes it a little bit easier too. All right, but thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, moving on to the federal fiscal year 2026 to 2030 program development. So we don't have anything specific for you today to talk about, but I just wanted to bring it up. We are still planning on going out for a call for projects come October. We haven't picked an official date that the call will open up, just that it's going to be October. And there's a couple of reasons why. We're currently engaged in a platform upgrade to our ETIP online database. And so we're hoping to have that go live and use that for the call for projects. We think it's a little bit more intuitive than the current, and maybe easier for applicants to go through to fill out their initial application for the not just these 3 programs, but also the SDP shared fund as well. Our goal is to have dates for you at your August meeting, and along with like any potential changes. We weren't planning on making any methodology changes, but staff just realized that our disadvantaged community score was based upon FHWA's DAC tool. that has been modified. And so we are now investigating how it was changed, and whether we need to make some changes to our scoring based upon that. So we'll have something for you at the August meeting. It just wasn't ready for prime time right now. So with that, are there any questions about the upcoming call? Yes, Chris.
You said that there probably is not going to be any changes to the CMAQ selection criteria, but the consideration for carbon reduction and is that going to keep like the same kind of scoring metrics for those project selection?
Yeah, so staff doesn't feel at this point in time we should like make any modifications to that. So just to review kind of what we did for the carbon reduction, we kind of treated them like all applications that were CMAQ eligible, are also carbon reduction program eligible.
Sure.
So we kind of just evaluated all those types of applications like the same way, with the big difference being the emissions cost benefit. For CMAQ, we used VOC as the primary. For the carbon reduction, we ran GHG emissions. So that was the big difference. But we left all the transportation impact criteria, the equity scoring, all the same for both.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate you explaining that.
All right. With that, moving on to other business, we just have one other thing that we'd like to add. I would like to recognize Dave Tomzik, who is retiring from PACE, tomorrow? Next week. Dave, while not being an official member of this committee, has attended the CMAQ Project Selection Committee meetings regularly since I've been doing it in 2002. And at one point in time, he used to sit up at on the table to help on the transit side. And I think Dave's has participated as we've talked about methodology changes, especially related to transit, has been really helpful in that. But I just wanted to say thank you, Dave, and enjoy. I know you're not retiring, but yeah, hopefully Florida treats you well. Thank you.
I just wanted to echo what Doug said. When I first started on this committee, I was fairly young and, there's certain people that pull you aside and they kind of show you the ropes. And I would have to say that, that was a big part. I didn't know enough about transit to really speak on anything and, the help from you and Mark and kind of showing me the way on that. It was something I won't soon forget and very knowledgeable, and they're going to miss you. That's for sure. But I'm glad you're moving on to something that'll be hopefully a little bit more fun and exciting. So thank you.
I guess I'll echo as well. I have really appreciated working with you over the years, and your relationship building with the municipalities and with the counties, with a lot of our planning and programming efforts. It's been great working with you. So.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. All right. Sorry, you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dave, for your participation in this committee, and I always appreciate it. If I didn't have a chance or hadn't yet reviewed the materials, Dave would usually call me. Mark, did you see this on the agenda? What are we gonna do about this? So appreciate that. But I do have something to follow on from that. It was really a preview for at the next meeting in August. We have an item that we will be coming forward. We'd like to put on the agenda. And the RTA has a large grant for transit signal priority, goes back more than 10 years. It's about $40 million grant, and we have sub agreements with PACE, CTA, and CDOT to implement those projects. We have had various, it's taken longer than we expected to do all that, but we have had a lot of success. CTA initially implemented TSP on the southern portion of Ashland Avenue and then Western Avenue. And then they've been a little bit quiet for a while. They're working on engineering. They have engineering plans 100% to implement it on northern part of Ashland. And they anticipate having substantial funds remaining in our grant to do additional TSP. So we will be asking the committee's blessing for exploring some additional corridors for TSP that weren't on the original list. So we'll need to do a scope amendment for that.
Okay.
So it's not a cost amendment, it's just a scope amendment. So in the meantime, PACE has been is currently and has been over the last few years, especially implementing TSP on multiple corridors. They started with the Walkie corridor. The Dempster corridor was a few years ago, and they're currently and have already implemented on handful of other corridors. So we'll give you a quick update on what we've accomplished and then what we propose to do with the remaining funds. For CTA and CDOT, they're looking at ways to do it, to find corridors that TSP can be implemented on inexpensively and quickly so that we can get it out there, rather than on the Ashland corridor that became a bigger project. It's a traffic signal modernization and traffic signal priority. So it's a whole different animal, really. It's taken a long time. So costs a lot. So.
Great. I'm sure you'll reach out to us, but.
I will. I just wanted you to have
Yeah,
that.
so that it's not a surprise when you
Yep.
get that, so.
Great.
We're meeting to get today to finalize the list of corridors, and then we'll submit something to you soon.
That's good. Any other business from committee members? All right, hearing none. Next meeting. So you may have noticed that our next meeting is scheduled for August 22nd. Because of the Democratic National Convention is being held that week, CMAP is moving. Our offices are going to be closed and we're going to go fully remote that week. So we would like to propose to push the meeting back a week to August 29th. Hopefully that works with everybody's schedule. If it doesn't, please let me know. I mean, some of you have alternates, we can always discuss, but hopefully the August 29th date works for everybody. And we'll send out, we'll change the meeting request, the calendar invite for the 29th, if that's all right with everybody. All right, great. And with that, there's no other more business.
Public comment.
What?
You skip public comment?
Oh, sorry. Public comment. We'll go back to 8.0. Does anybody have a wish to address the committee from the audience? I'm seeing a head shake. Do we have anybody online that wishes to make a public comment? Nope. Okay. So no public comment. And we'll move on to adjournment. Seeing no other more business before this committee. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Thank you, Mark. Do I have a
Second.
second? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.